Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Chanel goes missing as Snowstorm strikes, Johnny and Julie fear at the cabin. Days of Our Lives, DOOL, spoilers reveal that Chanel D. Mara, Raven Bowens, and Johnny D. Mara's, Carson Boatman, honeymoon will come with some curveballs, starting with Julie Williams, Susan Seaforth Hayes, surprise appearance. Julie will catch Johnny and Chanel off guard when she derails their passionate hassle at the Horton cabin. It looks like Julie will seek sanctum there due to the unforeseen snowstorm, so Chanel and Johnny will reluctantly make room for her. Unfortunately, Days spoilers say this cabin flight will come with a far worse stunner latterly. The week of April 15th to 19th will bring fear for Johnny and Julie since Chanel will end up fading. Our DOOL prognostications point to Chanel going out for some wood or commodity along those lines. There'll supposedly be some reason for Chanel to leave the cabin, but Johnny and Julie will get upset when she doesn't return. Of course, Johnny will no doubt want to search for Chanel, but Julie may advise that he could get lost in the snowstorm, too. Julie may suppose Johnny needs to hold off until the snow lets up a bit, but he may not be willing to sit around and do nothing. As for Paulina Price, Jackie Harry, Days spoilers say she'll get updates on Chanel's evaporating act and come terrified over the news as well. Once Paulina gets out of insulation following her radioactive iodine treatment, she'll ultimately join the quest for Chanel and do whatever it takes to track down her worried son. There's no word on where Chanel will be, but it's clearly possible Chanel will get tangled up in some Clyde Weston, James Reed, drama. Will Chanel get snared and come a hostage? Clyde and Rebecca Goldman, Christy St. John, are on the run together, so Days suckers are curious about the problems they'll beget coming. Chanel could be in a world of trouble if she winds up in the path of these dangerous exiles. Honeymoon hijacking, Clyde and Goldman take Johnny and Chanel hostage? Days of Our Lives, DOOL, spoilers for the week of April 8, 2024 reveal that Johnny D. Mara, Carson Boatman, and Chanel Dupree D. Mara, Raven Bowens, eventually have their honeymoon. At least, that's what Janelle thinks when they walk into the Horton cabin. Johnny and Chanel's closeness is rudely intruded. Could it be Clyde Weston, James Reed, who could take the honeymooning couple as hostages? Days of Our Lives spoilers, Clyde Weston's escape. DOOL spoilers reveal that Clyde escaped with Goldman, Christy St. John, after his captivity break. Days of Our Lives spoilers honeymoon kidnapping, Clyde and Goldman take Johnny and Chanel hostage? When Ava Vitale, Tamara Braun, Steve Johnson, Stephen Nichols, and John Black, Drake Hodgson, freed Clyde, it was to save Trip Johnson, Lucas Adams, and Wendy Shin, Victoria Grace. The triad no way planned on Clyde turning the tables and running off with Goldman. DOOL spoilers, Ava Vitale's mission. Clyde might not be in Salem, but is close by. Clyde isn't going to go far from his medicine operations. There's way too important plutocrat, power, and control for Clyde to give up for veritably long. Plus, Clyde will still want to make sure his pets continue following orders. At the same time, there's a manhunt for Clyde and Goldman. Clyde calls Ava during the week of April 8. Clyde orders Ava to go to the bistro to recoup an item. So, when Ava gets this item, she'll need to meet Clyde nearly. Now, what does this all have to do with Johnny and Chanel's honeymoon? We're getting to that, hold on. Days of Our Lives spoilers, Johnny D. Mara's honeymoon intruded. Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of April 8, 2024, reveal that Johnny and Chanel get cozy at the Horton cabin. Johnny and Chanel begin to get frisky. That's when someone rudely bursts through the door. The daily exercise doesn't say who it is, but we've a feeling it might be Clyde and Goldman. DOOL spoilers, Janelle hostage crisis? It's possible that Clyde communicated Ava knowing that he'd have influence with new hostages. It's also possible that Clyde and Goldman have been lying low at the Horton cabin, and no way anticipated Johnny and Chanel to show up. Knowing Clyde, he'll take the occasion to use Janelle as influence. Will Johnny and Chanel survive this fire? It really might make the couple wonder if their union is accursed. Who do you suppose crashes Johnny and Chanel's honeymoon at the Horton cabin? Will Clyde and Goldman take Johnny and Chanel as hostages? Edition is out, and it's officially raining men in Salem. All products and services featured are singly chosen by editors. Still, soaps.com may admit a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may admit certain auditable data for counting purposes. Get ready for a whole lot of skin, because Playgirl's Days of Our Lives edition is officially out. It was ain't that long ago that we would ain't have pictured of ever seeing a cleaner hunk in Playgirl again. Back in the 80s and indeed 90s, cleaner stars would cross over to Bear, nearly, all from time to time, but when the magazine went silent for a bit, we allowed. That period was over, though thanks to the prodigies of the internet, you can check out many of the day hunks of history who made an appearance. But now, Playgirl is back, and we discovered the cleaner hunk connection was stronger than ever, when the magazine blazoned it was doing commodity special with the guise of Days of Our Lives. Well, the delay is over, and the Playgirl issue is out, and it's all fluently accessible online. And while Robert Scott Wilson, Alex, Eric Martsolf, Brady, Paul Telfer, Xander, Brian DeTillo, Lucas, and Christopher Sean, Paul, are each in the issue, they also all got their own individual covers. In fact, the magazine blazoned the issue on Instagram with Telfer's cover, and head writer Ron Carlivati participated the full diapason of covers, which you can scroll through below. EJ in the hot seat, Clyde's order for Ava, Paulina prepares, Johnny and Chanel celebrate Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Tuesday, April 9th indicate that EJ DiMera finds himself in the hot seat with not only Holly Jonas, Ashley Puzimis, but also Kristen DiMera, Stacey Hayduke. Clyde Weston, James Redd, makes yet another demand on Ava Vitale. Tamara Braun, will Harris Michaels, Steve Burton, catch her? Paulina Price, Jackie Harry, and Abe Carver, James Reynolds, prepare for her treatment. Johnny DiMera, Carson Boatman, and Chanel Dupree, Raven Bowens, celebrate their honeymoon. Meanwhile, Trip Johnson, Lucas Adams, and Wendy Shin, Victoria Grace, deal with her trauma from their hijacking. EJ DiMera gets it from both sides. Days of Our Lives. EJ has gone overboard trying to hold Tate Black, Leo Howard, responsible for Holly's overdose at the New Year's Eve party. Tate did the stylish he could do to keep Holly from overdosing. Still, Holly refused to do that. Holly stormed off to do the medicines anyway, and Tate was none the wiser as to where she was going. When Tate set up Holly, she was nearly gone. Tate was at himself enough to try to help her, but that didn't make her a victim. That made her a medicine stoner. Tate wasn't to condemn for any of this. Holly brought this all on herself. Holly will rant at EJ for arresting Tate in the first place. EJ will admit he went overboard and had no substantiation against him. EJ will also get brazened by Kristen for having Stefan DiMera, Brandon Barish, under arrest for dealing medicines for Clyde. But what's EJ supposed to do since Stefan confessed to everything? It's not like EJ came up with these charges and put them on Stefan. Would EJ arrest Kristen if she did the same? DOOL, Clyde, 22 Days of Our Lives. Spoilers. Clyde Weston isn't done with Ava Vitale. Just when Ava thinks she's out from under Clyde's thumb, he calls on Ava to do another favor from her. It seems that Clyde needs one further thing before he leaves city, and Ava is his only stopgap to get it. Will Ava do as Clyde asks, or will she let Harrison on this phone call? Will Ava at least give John Black, Drake Hodgson, and Steve Johnson, Stephen Nichols, a chance to catch Clyde? DOOL. Spoilers. Festivity turns to chaos. Abe and Paulina will prepare for her iodine treatment. Of course, we allowed. She made a phenomenon recovery, so why does she need commodity differently? Trip and Wendy will go spend a little quality time in the domain. Can Wendy handle being there since they were outdoors, doing the geocaching event when they were abducted? Meanwhile, Johnny and Chanel plan to celebrate their honeymoon, but it seems they may have some unwanted guests at the Horton cabin. Will Clyde